You've probably got a packet of this somewhere in your kitchen, right? It's a lifesaver for students, a go-to for late-night cravings, just a super quick and easy meal. But have you ever really stopped to think about the incredible story of innovation, failure, and just pure persistence that's packed into that simple block of noodles? Well, today we're going to unpack the amazing story of instant ramen. Okay, I know this sounds like the setup to a really weird joke, but stick with me. The answer connects a huge national crisis, a simple everyday cooking technique, and a light bulb moment that literally changed how the entire world eats. Yep, these three totally random things are the pillars of our story. It's a story that follows one man, Momofuku Ando, on his relentless mission to solve a massive problem. And this quest would end up taking him from a humble backyard shed all the way to outer space. So let's start at the beginning. Our story doesn't kick off in some fancy kitchen or a lab. Nope, it begins in the ruins of post-war Japan, a time of incredible hardship that, created the perfect storm for a revolutionary idea. It's really hard for us to imagine now, but in the years right after World War II, Japan was facing a massive food crisis. Seeing people collapse from hunger was, sadly, pretty common. It was this tragedy that convinced Momofuku Ando that food was the absolute foundation for everything. As he put it, without food, there's no clothing, no housing, no culture, nothing. The spark really came one cold night in Osaka. Ando saw this long, shivering line of people huddled around a black market stall, and they were all just waiting for one single, humble bowl of ramen. He saw their hunger for sure, but he also saw this huge, unmet need. People in Japan love noodles, but there just wasn't an easy way for them to get them. And that was it. The mission began. At 47 years old, and after losing his entire fortune when a credit union he ran went bankrupt, Ando decided to dedicate himself to creating a brand new kind of ramen, one that anyone, anywhere, could make with just a bit of hot water. So he set himself these 5 incredibly ambitious goals you see here. And remember, the guy had zero formal training in making food. He wanted his noodles to taste great, last a long time on the shelf, be super simple to make, be affordable, and, of course, be safe. I mean, just hitting one of these would be hard enough. All 5, it seemed impossible. For an entire year, with no days off, he just worked by himself in this tiny shed he built in his backyard. He was fueled by pure determination, experimenting constantly, and sleeping just 4 hours a night. It was this relentless, lonely hunt for the perfect solution. And then the eureka moment came from the most unexpected place. He'd been struggling with how to dry the noodles so they'd cook up fast. Well, the answer came from watching his wife, Masako, fry tempura. He noticed how the hot oil just zapped the moisture right out. And it clicked. This is it. By flash frying the noodles, he could dehydrate them so they'd last forever. And it created all these tiny little holes that let hot water rehydrate them in just a few minutes. Genius! So in August 1958, chicken ramen was born. People literally called it magic ramen. Now, what's really surprising is that it was actually considered a luxury item. At 35 yen, it was 6 times more expensive than fresh udon noodles. But its convenience was so revolutionary that it became a huge hit almost overnight. But Momofuku Ando's dream was way bigger than just Japan. He wanted to make instant ramen a world food. And this next part of his journey, it required a totally different kind of thinking, sparked by a pretty simple cultural misunderstanding. Okay, so this is fascinating. In 1966, he's on a trip to the United States to promote chicken ramen, and he sees something that changes everything. The American supermarket managers he was meeting with didn't have ramen bowls or chopsticks. So what did they do? They improvised. They broke up the noodle block, stuck it in a paper coffee cup, poured in hot water, and ate it with a fork. For Ando, this was a total revelation. He realized that to go global, it wasn't just about the taste. He had to adapt to how people ate. The container itself was the key. This led to a brand new engineering problem, one that sounds pretty simple but is actually really tricky. A cup is wider at the top than at the bottom, right? So if you make the noodle block small enough to just drop in, it's going to rattle around and get smashed to bits during shipping. So how do you solve that? This slide just shows you how brilliant Ando was. After weeks of sleepless nights, the solution finally came to him. He realized he had to stop trying to put the noodles into the cup. Instead, as you can see, he placed the cup upside down over the noodles. This simple act of reverse thinking was the big breakthrough. This technique, which he actually patented as the middle holding method, was so elegant because it solved multiple problems at once. It held the noodle block securely right in the middle, which cushioned it from bumps. This also made the cup itself stronger, and it left that perfect little bit of space on top for all the freeze-dried toppings. Cup noodle launched in 1971, but its place in Japanese culture was really cemented by this dramatic, totally unexpected event. During a televised 10-day hostage crisis, the Asama Sanzo incident, the whole country watched. Police officers were stuck out in the freezing cold, eating hot cup noodle to stay warm. The image was so powerful and sales just exploded overnight. So, from a backyard shed to a national phenomenon, Ando's inventions had already changed the world. But the story doesn't even end there. His ambition and his noodles were about to leave the planet. I mean, the scale of his impact is just mind-blowing. Today, over 100 billion servings of instant noodles are eaten every single year. It's become a truly global food that cuts across cultures, classes, and borders. And here's proof that you're never too old to innovate. At 91 years old, Ando announced his next big project, creating ramen for astronauts. The result was Space Ram, a vacuum-packed noodle dish made for zero gravity that Japanese astronaut Suichi Noguchi actually ate aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery. When he finally succeeded at age 95, he perfectly embodied his own motto. There is no such thing as too late in life. His curiosity and his drive just never ever faded. Momofuku Ando's story is just so full of creativity and perseverance. And the cool thing is, it's a story that you can actually experience for yourself. Seriously, if you ever find yourself in Japan, the Cup Noodle Museum in Yokohama is an absolute must-see. You can see a replica of the actual shed where it all started, you can make your own chicken ramen by hand, and you can even design your very own one-of-a-kind cup noodle. It's just this wonderful, tangible celebration of his inventive spirit. So, from a line of people shivering in the cold to the vastness of outer space, the story of instant ramen just goes to show you that the simplest things can have the most extraordinary origins. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? The next time you open your pantry, what other stories of genius are hiding right there in plain sight?